How you guys doing? This is very important in reference to attorney law and client facts in reference to attorney law. When attorneys are squatting on money, they can be charged for attempts of murder of the client. If the attorneys are depriving the client of monies from checks or court settlings, people can get charged. Attorneys can go to prison for financial fraud. And I'm the only child of my mother and father. And in reference to the situation, there's always been, my mother and father and grandparents had attorneys too. Plus, my parents knew a lot about the law and they had attorney credentials too. And my mother and father owned law offices in America. Is that not true? Do you guys have that on record? And I'm the owner of those law offices of my mother and father and grandparents. So, in reference to the facts of information of people acting like they don't know what the law is, and illegal withholdings based on time, like for instance, if an attorney receives monies from a court settling, and if it is not passed to the client, or if it is not delivered to the client, that attorney can get charged for trying to steal the monies. I'm the last living relative of my parents. I'm the only child. So this is a very high priority case every single day. And in reference to public endangerment of people trying to hurt me, meaning like them trying to hurt my freedom, these people trying to steal my money, attorneys can get charged for attempts of murder. In reference to American law and European law, in reference to people trying to block my family history of which I am the owner of. Like these people trying to call me a nobody when there are attorneys that would have loved to be attorneys of mine in this situation. And there's probably going to be a need for new attorneys. But, in reference to the situation of attorneys think, in reference to criminals that are in law, they think if they withhold monies and then the client gets murdered off, the attorney thinks they're going to get away with keeping monies from court cases. That's not legal. That's not right. And that's not the facts. That's a violation of Treasury laws and illegal withholdings. And in reference to this being a high priority situation, the Royal Protocol has been in the media every single day since I was born. I am the owner of my mother and father's estates. I'm the owner of all the companies, all the businesses, all the land. And these people are blocking me, and they have been blocking me for over 26 plus years. Since my mother got murdered in 93, and since they had kidnapped me from California when they had trespassed on my mother and father's mansion property, and they had kidnapped me, and they held me hostage in Indiana. Then I went back out to California, and they kidnapped me again and held me hostage. So, it's kind of a situation of, there's variable other attempts of these people kidnapping me and holding me hostage. But in reference to court judges or attorneys funneling monies to other people when they claim that they were attorneys of mine and I haven't received any of the monies, that means they were possibly involved in trying to murder me. Their activities of withholding monies and conspiring with criminals in government, you are violating the due process. You're violating the financial guidelines of what an attorney's job is. You're violating the guidelines of the courts. And attorneys that are involved in withholding monies or slandering my character must get prosecuted. I'm the only child of my mother and father. I'm the owner of the estates of my parents. And that's the facts. No matter who anybody else is, you have no attachment to my mother and father's estates. It is a bloodline fact. I am the bloodline of my mother and father. There is nobody else in the world that is. I'm 100% bloodline of my mother and father. Don't forget, my mother and father was cousins. Don't forget that. They were distant cousins, my mother and father, in reference to royal family history. Royal family history. Royal bloodlines. of European and American royalty plus family history. So in reference to attorneys or dirty politicians thinking they were going to get away with stealing anything from my mother and father's estates, those people have to be ordered into court. People blocking me from my money, blocking me from my mother and father's estates, or my benefits or insurance monies or insurance cases that I was supposed to receive monies from, and harassment cases and all kinds of other things. And illegal surveillance abuse from satellites, teeth mutilation, facial damage, ankle damage. The satellite man's making me burp. That's a physical assault too. So in reference to all these people, all the race and ethnicities of all attorneys, all court judges, all individuals has to be documented and presented. I'm the only child of my mother and father. My parents gave me the estates when I was little. And my parents worked as executives on the top level of the companies. And I'm the owner of my mother and father's estates forever. So in reference to anybody depriving me of money, blocking me from revenues, blocking me from information, blocking me from keys to properties of my mother and father's mansions, people need to get arrested. And their DNA and race and religion has to be documented in the courts too. To see which people are conspiring, to see how many numbers of what person is conspiring against me in reference to how many people of their race, how many people of their identity or their family is conspiring against me, or which people. Who, what, when, and where, man. It's got to be documented. And in reference to, I was supposed to receive money from the Treasury and the Supreme Court, too. Never received nothing. In the past 26 years, man. Still being held hostage. Haven't received any of the monies from any of the court cases in reference to my mother and father. Main things of importance. And I'm, in reference to the guidelines of property where I'm supposed to be at, that my mother and father had documented, that's not even been acknowledged. I'm still being held hostage in Indianapolis. Still at the little house. And in reference to guidelines, these government people think it was funny because these dirty government people claim they're dirty government from the streets or something. Well, I'm not from the streets, man. I'm from the very rich, super rich class. And I'm not giving up who I am and my family history for anybody or for any relationship with any female. I'm 100% bloodline of my mother and father. And I'm the owner of my mother and father's estates forever. So in reference to your government people trying to play tricks, trying to manipulate, your people trying to steal my identity, your people trying to steal my property and land, you have to get prosecuted. See, the role protocol in the media protects my identity and who I am and who my parents are. And that document is eventually going to catch up with you. They should have already prosecuted you people for defrauding me and holding me hostage and damaging my face and teeth. Don't forget, man, I'm the only child of my mother and father. Forever. And I'm the only bloodline, and I'm the only owner of the estates of my parents and grandparents. It's not commercialized. It's not a shareholding of anything. Not shareholding properties. No shit like that. I'm the real McCoy of my mother and father. I'm the real child of my mother and father. I'm the real owner of my mother and father's estates and my grandparents' estates. I'm the real owner forever. So in reference to anybody trying to make any moves to try to hurt me at any time ever, automatic lawsuits, automatic prosecution, automatic arrests against people. Don't forget those Treasury documents tell you I'm supposed to be protected better than a president. You understand what that means, right? Read those Treasury documents. And I'm the owner of my mother and father's media companies, too. I'm the owner forever. In low-friendly countries, in low Korea and China and Japan and England, France, and Italy, and Malaysia, and Thailand, and Taiwan, and hello Mexico, hello Canada, in reference to friendly people. Lots of, and hello Alaska and other countries. Friendly acknowledgments. This is very serious in reference to attorneys trying to defraud me. It's attempted murder. Real protocol of my identities in the media forever.